Hello, my name is Mark Allan Gunnells, and I am the author of Asylum, a novella of dancing, drinking, and the dead. Asylum was originally published with Apex about 10 years ago, but just a couple of years ago they re-released it in this gorgeous new edition that includes a new short story set in the world of Asylum. It is a zombie novella. I think of it as my Night of the Living Dead set in a gay club instead of a farmhouse. So I'm going to do a brief reading from the very beginning of the novella that kind of sets up the action of the story and hopefully just gives you an idea of what kind of a ride you're in for. So I'm just going to get right into it. When the dead arose, Jimmy was going down on the balding accountant. When the accountant gasped out a strained, "Oh God," Jimmy assumed he was nearing orgasm, so he tightened his lips around the warm flesh and swallowed deep. But the dick went flaccid in his mouth even as the driver's side window shattered. Glass rained down on Jimmy's head, a shard nicking him in the back of the neck. "What the fuck?" Jimmy yelled even as he heard the accountant scream. Jimmy threw himself back into the passenger seat, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. Arms reached into the car and dragged the accountant out through the broken window. The man struggled and beat at the hands that had ensnared him, but his upper torso disappeared through the window. His pants and underwear were still around his knees, and Jimmy saw that the glass from the window was digging into his bare ass, drawing blood that seemed much too bright to be real. As the accountant was pulled the rest of the way out of the car, he kicked out and one foot struck Jimmy in the side of the head, dislodging the stunned fog that shrouded his brain. He reached for the accountant's legs, but it was too late. He heard the heavy thud as the man landed in the gravel outside the car. It was dark, and there were no lights in this part of the lot, so Jimmy couldn't make out who had grabbed the accountant, but he was sure he knew the type. Bigoted redneck assholes who thought a little gay bashing made for a fun night on the town. Jimmy opened the passenger's door and started around the car. He had never been one to back down from a fight, and he had personally taught his fair share of bullies that he was no stereotypical pussy who would cower before them. He knew how to use his fists, and he would show these fuckers. When Jimmy got a good look at the attackers, he skidded to a halt by the rear bumper of the car. There were 3 of them, 2 men and a woman. One man was dressed in a dark black suit caked with dirt. One man was wearing nothing but pajama bottoms. The woman had on a simple purple dress and high heels, although the heel of the left shoe was broken. And yet it wasn't the way the trio was dressed that froze Jimmy's blood and made his testicles shrivel against his body. The man in the suit was missing an eye. The man in the pajamas had his throat torn out, ragged and bloody. The woman's skin had rotted away in places, revealing the skeletal frame underneath. They did not seem to notice Jimmy. Their attention focused solely on the screaming accountant, who was trying to drag himself away from the 3 with his elbows. The man in the suit stomped a foot down on the accountant's stomach, instantly cutting off his screams. The woman knelt between the accountant's legs, licking her lips as she lowered herself toward his dick. Jimmy thought for a moment she was going to give him a blowjob, just as Jimmy had been doing when they were interrupted. But instead she bit down on the man's scrotum. The accountant found his voice again, a high-pitched wail aimed at the heavens, as the woman snapped her head back, her teeth rending flesh. That was when Jimmy started to scream as well. So again, that's just from the very beginning of Asylum, just to give you an idea of what kind of a story you're going to be reading. You can find this book available on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com. It's also available directly from the Apex website, apexbookcompany.com. So if you like what you heard, give it a try. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.